Good morning. I hope you're all well. Yes, my name is Natha and I work with Analytics Business Center. I am an accountant. I'll be taking you through Zoho Books. So when you log in, this is how it looks like. You'll be welcome to a dashboard that looks like this. So when you log into Zoho Books is a financial. It's an accounting system. So sorry about that. It's an accounting system that helps you with your daily, day-to-day transactions. It's online, and we have other tools like Zoho Inventory and Zoho Expense. The beauty about this, once your business grows, let's say you grow into start handling like a lot of stock and everything, the system is built in a way that you can actually go ahead and integrate it with Zoho Inventory. So we have over 45 other apps that we can go ahead and integrate to this system as well. And also it has an app. So let's say you're a kind of a business that you're not always in office, but you would want like to go ahead and issue your invoices and you're on a go. So the same credentials that you used while like onboarding on your like web, those are the same credentials that you use with an app. So you just go to Play Store and then you just type Zoho Books. You'll be able like to get like that app, you download it and follow the prompt. So it will just request you for like an email and then password. And it will be able like to fetch all the information that you had put in like earlier on to your phone. So also it streamlines and helps you like, let's say you are on a go, you'll be able like to carry out those transactions seamlessly. And also it will be able like to help you like in your day-to-day reconciliation and everything. So we have this feature called banking. So let's say you want to go ahead and reconcile those accounts. We have like, it has like an automated like reconciliation module inbuilt. So you'll be able like to reconcile your account seamlessly. So going forth, also gone are the days where people like used to generate like manual reports. You know, when you're recording things manually, you have to go ahead and reconcile those things and get like the incoming, what you have received versus what you have expensed on. And at the end of the day, you're going to manually calculate that. But the system comes along like with the reports module. So once you start attaching transactions in the system, you'll be able like to get like so many reports. So the system comes along like with so many reports, as you can see. It even gives us like a count. So here we have over 80 reports. So once you start transacting in the system, you'll be able like to get a profit and loss, which is system generated. So you won't go ahead and get those reports like manually. So the system will be able like to give you those reports as long as you have accurately attached those transactions in the system. So moving along, this is the dashboard. Once you log in, you will come to this interface, which is the dashboard. A dashboard is like a summary. Once you start transacting in the system, it will give you like a summary of what you have put in the system. So here we have like a total receivable versus the total payables. Once you start transacting in the system, let's say you have issued an invoice or invoices. So an invoice is like you're telling the system that I'm expecting to get some money from a customer. So the system will respond to that. So let's say if you haven't like attached any payment or you have partially recorded a payment against those invoices, the system will be able like to pull that information for you. So you'll be able like to see all that outstanding amount that you are supposed to collect from your customers. And also we have this specific summary, which is the total payables. So also the total payables, like it's self-explanatory. It's like you're paying. So let's say you are this kind of business that gets like some goods from your supplier. So there is a document that you always respond to. The supplier will send you their invoice, but for you, you'll be able like to translate that into a bill. So you'll be like that specific supplier. So because there is always that negotiation that happens between you and the supplier. So maybe you'll be like, I'm going to pay you like after a month. I'm going to pay you after three weeks. I'm going to partially pay you, something like that. So when you when you create like a purchase invoice or a bill, so the system will be able like to pull that information for you, that this is the outstanding amount of money that you are supposed to pay to your supplier. So when you have this information, the total receivables versus the total payables, you will have like a good financial visibility. So that's what also Zoho Books solves. It does not only allow you like to go ahead and attach transactions in the system, but you have like a good visibility on where you're standing. Let's say if you have like more money, if you have, let's say, more money under the receivables, that means more than the total payables. That means it shows you that actually you have to go ahead and offset. You have to go ahead and collect money from your customers to be able to offset the amount of money that is outstanding that you are supposed to pay to your suppliers. So you have like that good financial visibility, and that is like the advantage of Zoho Books. It will help you like in your daily decision making, financial wise and operation wise. So moving along, we have this summary. It's the cash flow. A cash flow is like, it shows you like how your money is moving at the end of like for each specific period. So here you just have to hover your cursor over like the months. So here it will give you like what you have brought in versus what you have brought out, and then the ending balance. So here you see incoming, outgoing, and then ending balance. So you'll be able like to see that specific amount of money that you have generated for that specific month, the one that you have brought out in terms of expenses, and what you have left, and what you have remained with as that specific month. So you'll be able like to get like a cash flow statement for all those months. And also the beauty about it, these reports are not like static. You can actually go ahead and filter them. Let's say you would want to have a cash flow statement for the previous fiscal year, for the last 12 months, or for this specific fiscal year. You'll be able like to have that specific report. So moving along, we have this also another summary, which is income versus expense, which is like the most vital. So this is usually represented in like a bar graph. So the system goes ahead and it gives us like a code, like the color codes. So the total income is green, and then the total expenses red. So once you start like transacting more on the income, let's say you are brought in more income versus the expenses, you'll be able like to have that visibility. So even it will pull out the total income versus the total expenses. So at the end of the day, you'll be able to know. So here, you will be able like to filter. Let's say we want to see income versus expenses for the last 12 months, for the last 6 months, and so forth. We also have this specific summary, which is the top expenses. So we have what we call like the chart of accounts configuration, which is found under this module. So a chart of account is like a list of all those accounts that most businesses like run on. Let me give you a scenario. We have expense accounts, we have income accounts, we have liability accounts, we have equity and asset. So once you configure those expense accounts under your chart of accounts, which is this module, so let's say you have started attaching like expenses, let's say office supply, utilities, staff wages and salaries, consultation, etc. So what the system will do for you, it will pull out that specific expense in a pie chart that has taken the most money from your business. So you'll be able like to have that visibility. So sorry about that. Let me go back to my dashboard. So you'll be able like to have that visibility that this is the expense that has taken the most money from my business, and it will guide you on how you're going to run for all those other expenses, maybe in the next financial period or financial year, something like that. You can actually go ahead and filter these expenses. So you can have a view of how you have you can have a view of all those expenses. Let's say for this month, for the previous fiscal year, and so forth. We also have this module, which is the projects feature. So Zoho Books helps you it flags you whether that specific project is profitable or not profitable. So it relies on that rule where you can be able to configure a budget against that specific project. So we have a budgeted amount and then the actuals. So this project module in Zoho Books allows you to go ahead and attach a budget. Let's say for this specific project, you can forecast, let's say 10 million, but then on actuals, you can realize, let's say 12 million. And then on expenses, you can forecast 5 million. And then in actuals, you can actually go ahead and attach, let's say you've realized 4 million. So you can actually go ahead and see the profitability summary for that specific project. So it can actually tell you whether that specific project has been or is profitable based on the budgeted amount versus the actuals. So we also have the bank and credit cards feature. So we all have, every business has those accounts that it uses for its daily transaction recording. So let's say if you have a Stanbic account, an equity account, an ABSA account. So what the system will do for you, you can actually go ahead and attach those transactions in the system. So at the end of the day, you'll be able to see the running balances that all those banks have. And you're going to ask me, isn't that information confidential? Yes, it is confidential. That's why the system comes along with this feature called the users. So the system allows you to invite other users in the system, but you can actually go ahead and restrict and grant access. So you see all these modules that we have seen on our dashboard. So when you invite a user in the system, you can actually go ahead and restrict them from viewing this information, or from viewing this information, or from viewing this specific information. So you can actually go ahead and grant and limit access. So the system allows you to add the system allows you to add users. Let's say you have a salesperson that you want, that is supposed to maybe issue quotations or issue out invoices, but you wouldn't want them to have a view of this dashboard. So they can actually go ahead and have a view of only this specific module. So that is really the dashboard, which is a summary. So on my left, moving along, we see the system comes along with the different modules that you'll be using for your daily transacting. So Zoho Books is everything accounting. So starting from the sales process, so the entire sales process is captured in the system. Starting from the customers, issuing a quotation, you can go ahead and issue a sales order, an invoice, the sales receipts, recurring invoices, to the credit notes. So when a customer comes to you, that is the initial process. So we see it is being captured here. So you're going to go ahead and add customers in the system. So when a customer comes to you, they are going to be hello analytics business center. I reached out to you via website, but I would want to get a list of your services. What I have interest in Zoho. So what you're going to do, you're going to attach that specific customer in the system. So I have added all my customers, as you can see. So on your end, it will be a matter of clicking add new, and then you'll be able to add in all those details. So you're going to add in the company name, the display name, and then you'll be able to save the customer. So we also have this shortcut. Let's say if you have an Excel sheet that is ready, you can actually go ahead and import your customers automatically. But we also have I had said from the beginning, this system, you can actually go ahead and integrate it with other Zoho apps. We have an app called CRM. So when we integrate like CRM, which is like a customer relationship management system, so when you integrate that system to Zoho Books, you won't be able like to add these customers manually. So the system will be able like to fetch those customers from a CRM to Zoho Books. So you have like an interface like this that shows all your customers that you have ever added to the software. So going forth, the customer has come to you, they want a quotation. So it will lead us to this module. So you go ahead and issue a quotation to them. So this is like how the quotation interface will look like. So here you can see it shows like all the quotations that have ever issued out. So I'll click one of the quotations and you have a look at how like the quotation comes out. So this is how the quotation comes out. So because this is a demo account, but on your end, you'll be able like to attach an organization logo, and your logo will be your organization logo will reflect here on your document. So also the picture about Zoho Books, one process leads to the other. So once you create a quotation, you can actually go ahead and convert a quotation into an invoice. A quotation doesn't have like any financial impact on your transactions, on your finances. It's when you convert a quotation into an invoice, it's when your transactions will get automatically affected. So one process leads to the other. You can go ahead and convert this specific quotation into an invoice. So you can see here at the top of this document, you can actually go ahead and click convert. But this quotation has already been converted into an invoice. So let us move along. So when you convert a quotation into an invoice, it's like you're trying to, the customer has told you, this is what I'm going with. So the quotation, as you've seen, it shows like the details, what you are quoting for, let's say Zoho, and then the overall amount of money that you are expecting from that specific customer. So you're going to invoice them. So this is how like an invoice looks like. So you see, to show like what the customer is buying from you, and then the total amount of money that you are expected to receive from that specific customer. So you can actually go ahead and record a payment against that invoice. So one process leads to the other. You quote, and then you convert a quotation into an invoice. And then when you're done creating an invoice, you can actually go ahead and download that specific invoice. You just click PDF, and then you'll be able to download, and then you send this specific invoice to that specific customer. You can actually go ahead and attach a delivery note. And when you're done, you can actually go ahead and mark as send, or you can actually go ahead and email this invoice to that specific customer. So you can actually go ahead and transact everything at a go under this specific interface. So when you're done, you can actually go ahead and mark it as sent. Let's say if you've received like payment from this specific customer, you can actually go ahead and click record payment. So we are going to click record payment. So I'm going to click the date as per which I received that specific payment. Let's say the customer has paid, let's say using a bank transfer or cash or any. So the system comes along like with these payment, different payment ones. So you can actually go ahead and choose. So you're going to deposit the money. So here, you're going to record the account that has received that specific amount. So at the beginning, I had talked about like this feature, the banking module. So when we configure all those accounts, let's say equity, Stanbic, all those accounts will be they'll reflect under here. So I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to click save as paid. So when I click save as paid, you see even my invoice has automatically, it has adjusted from a balance due of 200K. Because I've received a payment, it has come to balance due UGX 0. So let's say the customer requests for a receipt. So here under the payments received, you're going to click this number, and then the system comes along with a receipt. Because they have paid you, you're going to be able to issue a receipt. So you're going to download this specific receipt, or you can actually go ahead and email this specific receipt to the customer. So we have seen the entire sales process is being captured under this sales module. So it's the same as like the purchases process, the purchases module. So the purchases module is like the entire purchases process that is captured in the system. So we have the vendors, just like how we have seen for the customers. Here you're going to attach like your vendors. So you're going to click new, and then you're going to attach that specific supplier. So I'm going to add a supplier. So you're going to add the display name, how you would want this specific supplier name to reflect on your documents. You're going to add an email address, their email address. Actually, this is where the automation comes in. So we saw like at the point of, let's say, sending an invoice to the customer. So when you add an email address, let's say to this specific vendor, at the point of sending them an email, that specific email will reflect in that on their end when you're sending them an email. So when you're done like feeding in all that information, you save. So here you've seen I have attached a vendor. So a vendor is like a supplier. So a supplier is going to send you, like, you're going to email them, you're going to tell them, because there is that initial conversation that happens between you and your supplier. You're going to tell them, I want this, maybe your hardware, you're going to tell them, I need nails, something that you're going to request from them that you're going to resell. So it's like a purchase. So they are going to send you an invoice, but for you, you're going to translate that invoice into a bill. So I'm going to click new bill. So one process leads to the other. So a bill is like a purchase invoice. You're trying to tell the system that I am requesting for supplies for my business. So you're going to choose like the bill number. So a bill number, you're going to, because the supplier send you like an invoice, usually that invoice has like a number. So you're going to translate that invoice number to this section. So let's say that invoice number is 003. That's what you're going to feed in there. And then the bill date, the date as per which you're making this specific transaction. I'm going to choose the current date. And then the payment terms. So the payment terms, because I said there is always that negotiation. So maybe you had a negotiation that you're going to pay after 15 days. So you're going to choose net 15. Or due on receipt. Due on receipt, it means you're going to pay there and then. So the system comes along like with payment terms. And also, let's say you have a payment term that is not listed under here, you can actually go ahead and choose custom. So let's say there is that specific period that you, maybe after 3 days or after 4 days, you're going to choose custom. Or you can actually go ahead and click like a new payment term. So the system is flexible. You can actually go ahead and add your own payment term. So when we scroll down, you're going to choose like an item that you're going to purchase. So here, I'm just giving a scenario. So I'm choosing nails. Let's say if you're a hardware, so you're going to choose the quantity. So let's say I'm taking 20 kilograms of nails. So that means at a rate of 20,000. So here you're going to choose your own rate. So let me choose 30,000. So that means it will give me like a total of 600. So when you're done feeding in all those items, let's say you're taking more than one item, it's a matter of clicking new row until you are satisfied. So I'm taking one, but on your end, you'll be able to choose accordingly. So when you're done feeding in all that information, you're going to cross-check through everything. So when you're done, you're going to click Save as Paid. So when you click Save as Paid, this is how your bill will look like. So this is when a supplier sends you an invoice, you will respond to that invoice in Zoho Books by creating a bill. So when you create a bill in Zoho Books, you're trying to tell the system that actually I have a payable, just like how we saw on our dashboard. So you see that Under our total payables, the bill that you have created, which totals to 600K, has reflected under our total unpaid bill. So when you create a bill, you're trying to tell the system that I have an amount to pay to my supplier. So one process leads to the other. Once you create a bill, you actually go ahead and it's time to pay. So let's say now you have received these items and then it's time to pay. So you're going to click record payment. So when you click record payment, you can actually go ahead and do a partial payment against this specific bill of the 600K. You're going to record, let's say 200K. I'm going to pay you. I'm going to partially pay you, let's say 300K. So you're going to record that, you're going to realize the date that which you're making this payment. So we have this crucial part, which is the pay through account. The pay through account is that account that is going to finance this specific bill that you have used to finance this specific bill. So I am going to click petty cash. So and mark and click save as paid. So what the system will do for you, it will go ahead and recognize this, but because it's you who has paid this specific supplier, you're not going to give them the receipt. This is just like a payments made receipt that you actually supposed to give to your supplier, but in real sense, it's the supplier that is actually supposed to give you a receipt. This is just like for internal references, for reconciliation references. You can actually go ahead and send this to your supplier, but best practice, it's the supplier that is actually supposed to give you a receipt because you have paid them. So we have seen like the entire sales process is captured in the system. So we have this, the banking, we have to go ahead and see the amount of money. We have to go ahead and cross-check because we have been like attaching transactions under this account. So I'll go to petty cash. So you see here, I recorded like a payment against an invoice, which is 200K. So you see it is reflecting under the deposits. So here we have also seen, we realized like a vendor payment, which is a withdrawal of 300,000. So here the system will also show you a running balance because we have expensed more than we have received. That is the reason as to why we are seeing like a negative 5,000 shilling, 5,000 UGX 5,000. So I had talked about these accounts, the banking. So at the end of the day, you'll be able like to see, to have like this interface that shows you like all those transactions that have happened against this specific account. So moving along, we have this section, which is the report section. So because you have gone ahead like and attached transactions against in the system, you can actually go ahead and see how you've been doing financially. So you can actually go ahead and really see the sales that you have received against that specific month. And then because you haven't attached any expense, so when you want to record an expense, still you go to under purchases, and then this is where you record an expense. So I'll click expense and then add an expense here. So let's say I want to add, let's say, a mobile money, or let's say I want to pay my salaries. So I'll click salaries on wages payable, and then let's say I expensed 200K on salaries. And then here I recognize the account that was financed, which is petty cash. So I'm going to save. So going back to my reports, I'll go to reports, then choose profit and loss. So you see, remember the 200K that I had recorded, the 200K that I had recorded against an invoice to reflect under here. So also the salaries and wages payable will also reflect here. So the system will be able like to show you, excuse me, whether there was a profit or a loss. So here, interpretation is here. we are breaking even. So that means actually we have the same amount of money that we have realized under sales. It is the same amount of money that we had attached on our expenses. So let's say if you realize more than your sales than your expenses, you'll be able to realize a profit under here. So let's say you have incurred more than your sales, you'll be able to see whether you'll be able to see a loss. And the beauty about this report section, it is not static. You can actually go ahead and filter. Let's say now you had realized past transactions and you would want to see your profit and loss for, let's say, for the previous week, for the previous month. You can actually go ahead and for the previous year, you can actually go ahead and filter that. And then you click run report. So even the system will be able to filter that report accordingly. So even here on the report details, you'll be able to see this date because I've filtered to the previous year. Even the date will change from 1st January to December 2025. You can actually go ahead and schedule this report. Let's say you would want to you want other stakeholders to have a view of this report, let's say on a daily or monthly or any other frequency of your choice. You can actually go ahead and schedule. So scheduling a report, it means, okay, it eliminates this movement of you logging into Zoho Books and then going to the reports and then having a view. So you'll be able to receive this specific report according to your frequency preference. So let's say if you want to have a view of your monthly, your profit and loss monthly, you can actually go ahead and filter that. And then this specific report will reflect on in your email. So you're going to choose under email recipients, you're going to choose your email. So here I'm going to choose I'm going to choose my email. So you're going to add an email there, additional. So I'm going to choose this. You can attach an email recipient here. So here we have the default email recipient, which is that email that you use while onboarding to Zoho Books. That's why you're seeing it here. So here we have the start date. You can actually go ahead and choose the start date. So the start date, it means as per when you want as per when you would want this specific report to reflect. So if you want to get this report, let's say on the 29th or on the 30th, you'll be able to configure that. Also here we have at what time. Would you want to receive it, let's say in the morning hours or evening hours? So you'll be able to configure that accordingly. So we have, let's say, we have a support format. So let's say if you want, let's say, to have this report, let's say in Excel or PDF, but it's always recommended to choose PDF. A PDF is, you can't go ahead and edit a PDF. So you can actually go ahead and choose that and save. So when you save, that means you'll be able to get this specific report on a monthly basis, and it will be able to, and you'll be able to get how you have been doing income-wise versus expense-wise without logging into the system. The report will reflect on your email. So that has brought us to the end of this session. So I'm opening the floor. If you have any question concerning the system, you are free to ask. The floor is open.